Does body language prove TV actor Jussie Smollett staged a hate crime attack against himself? Find out.
Well, he doesn't need a machine. He's a human lie detector.
Jussie Smollett is an actor on the hit Fox TV show Empire. Jussie claims he was jumped and assaulted by two Donald Trump supporters in the early morning hours of January 29th, 2019, right outside his Chicago apartment.
In Chicago, and police say it could be a hate crime.
And this is America in 2019.
It's barbaric. It really is. I mean, in this day and age, come on, it's got to stop.
We're terrorizing our own people with this hatred. This is ridiculous.
You do fool yourself that you're safe in our world.
Empire actor and our friend Jussie Smollett was brutally beaten by two men in Chicago in an attack that put him in the hospital. The police report filed by the Chicago PD stated that the two men yelled racial and homophobic slurs at Jussie before assaulting him, pointing at his attackers screamed, "This is MAGA country."
I'm disgusted by people who wear hats that say MAGA.
What I can say about that beautiful young man is that he's always been kind.
A lot of people are questioning, they're looking for a videotape. I don't believe Jussie is making this up.
I don't like that it's being put out there in the media that this is a possible hate crime. I think that even sows a seed that makes people feel like, well, is he making this up? Don't put that in people's minds. This man was hurt, he was injured, and he needs justice. Point blank period.
You didn't deserve, nor anybody deserves, to have a noose put around your neck. We are better than that. America is better than that.
Connect the dots. This is what happens. If you are in a position of power and you hate people, people are going to be beaten on the street.
He's been very cooperative with us, and I don't see any reason why he wouldn't continue to be cooperative. Well, we're working with him in that regard. I mean, you know, think about it. How uncomfortable would it be for you to be without your cell phone for a few hours, you know? So we're working with them on that. And like I said, he's been cooperative.
He says, quote, "Let me start by saying that I'm okay. My body is strong, but my soul is stronger. More importantly, I want to say thank you. The outpouring of love and support from my village has meant more than I will ever be able to truly put into words." His family really throwing all of their support behind him, saying they believe him wholeheartedly. He has a concert here in LA this weekend.
I was bruised, but my ribs were not cracked. They were not broken. I fought the back.
I'm the King Tupac.
I'm okay. I'm not fully healed yet, but I'm gonna stand strong with y'all.
It has to stop, and it has to, but guess what? It stops with the people that believe in love. We have that power.
I know Jussie Smollett is a really, really good guy.
His assailants poured bleach on him and tied a rope around his neck and yelled MAGA country as they ran away, invoking the discriminatory rhetoric of the Trump administration.
We stand together with Jussie Smollett and everyone victimized, brutalized, or worse under this administration.
However, after an elaborate investigation, police believe they have irrefutable evidence that Jussie Smollett is not a victim, but a perpetrator filing a false police report on a fake hate crime attack to gain publicity so he can demand a higher salary on his TV show. Despite all the evidence against Jussie, including his attackers cooperating with police, Jussie is still claiming his innocence. So we're going to investigate by reading his body language during his famous Good Morning America interview and using police evidence to determine if Jussie Smollett is lying. Now, let's get started.
I'm pissed off. What is it that has you so angry? Is it the attackers?
It's the attackers, but it's also the attacks.
First, Jussie Smollett is a professional actor, also known as a professional liar. He lies for a living, so picking out his lies will be much more difficult with him than anyone else I've analyzed.
It's like, you know, at first it was a thing of like, listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth.
Immediately, did you see how emotional he got? When someone cries, it's widely looked upon as an authentic emotion because it's not easy for normal people to cry on command. But a professional actor like Jussie is able to cry on command by simply thinking of something else that makes him feel sad. Therefore, especially with Jussie, his crying is not an indicator of whether or not he's telling the truth.
Then it became a thing of like, oh, how can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth. And then it became a thing of like, oh, it's not necessarily that you don't believe that this is the truth. You don't even want to see the truth.
That part was rehearsed by Jesse. How do I know that? Watch these two parts consecutively.
Then it became a thing of like, oh. And then it became a thing of like, oh.
Jesse said the same thing twice in a row. He seemed to have rehearsed saying that with, he went back to saying it 6 seconds later with that extra drama he planned.
It's not necessarily
true or truth a lot. Since they're not telling the truth is constantly on their mind. Also, since they're feeling insecure that they're gonna be found out, they are overcompensating for the lie. Saying the word over and over is
What happened that night, Jesse?
When I landed in Chicago, and Frank Gatson, who's like my uncle, and he's also my creative director, and he picked me up. And then we got back to the apartment. There was no food. And so I went out to Walgreens thinking that they were 24 hours and to have a smoke. Walgreens was closed. So I called him up and I said, hey, I'm gonna run to Subway, which was across the street, and I'm gonna get a salad. Do you want anything? I went to the Subway and got the order. During that time, I texted my manager thinking that he was still in Australia because he was on an Australian tour with one of his other clients. And I said, yo, call me when you can. He called me immediately. And while he was on the phone, I heard, as I was crossing the intersection, I heard Empire. And I don't answer to Empire. My name ain't Empire.
Jesse gives a combo lip bite and a break in eye contact when he starts telling the attacker part of the story. The lip bite indicates insecurity of holding back information, and the break in eye contact indicates feeling ashamed of what he's saying. Jesse's likely not being truthful.
And I don't answer to Empire. My name ain't Empire.
Also, you're alone on the street at night, and someone says a word that you associate with. In Jesse's case, it's Empire, the name of his TV show. And you're not gonna look to see what's going on and why that was shouted?
And I didn't answer. I kept walking, and then I heard Empire. So I turned around and I said, the did you just say to me?
Jesse's not a gangster or a rough and tough street guy. He's wearing crispy clean white Gucci sneakers and skinny jeans. It doesn't make sense that a normal person, when verbally assaulted from behind, will go right back at them verbally without knowing what kind of crazy person is standing behind them or what possible weapon they may have. Throughout this, we'll notice that Jesse is a good actor, but a horrible writer.
This witness indicated that she heard nothing at the time of the staged attack, despite the fact that defendant Smollett told CPD detectives that his attackers were yelling racial and homophobic slurs at him, and he in turn was yelling back at them.
And I see the attacker masked, and he said, "This MAGA country punches me right in the face." So I punched his ass back.
Jesse sucks in his lips, indicating holding back information. In conversation, we subconsciously suck in our lips or purse our lips sometimes when we're holding back something. Also, is this how Gucci Smollett thinks street fights go? I'm gonna punch you first, and then it'll be your turn to punch me back if you so choose. If this was a real fight and he did fight back, it would all be a mix of pushing, punching, and wrestling. Any possible first punch from Jesse would be indistinguishable in the mix.
And then we started tussling. You know, it was very icy, and we ended up tussling by the stairs. Fighting. There was a second person involved.
The staged attack was to take place near the stairs on the southwest corner of New and North Water Streets.
Who was kicking me in my back.
These two bodybuilders were his attackers? If he was attacked by two guys this size, he would have many broken bones, and his face wouldn't look the same.
And
notice the pause. People who lie will pause more often because they're trying to weave the lie part of what they're saying in with the known truth.
Then it just stopped.
It's a miracle! They just randomly stopped beating on Jesse. Not because the police arrived or a good Samaritan came over to scare them off. They were just like, okay, well, that's enough. Let's go home. They didn't take his wallet, his cell phone, or even his Subway salad.
And they ran off, and I saw where they ran, and the phone was in my pocket, but it had fallen out, and it was sitting there, and my manager was still on the phone. So I picked up the phone and I said, Brandon, and he's like, what's going on? And I said, I was just jumped.
With all that supposed verbal assault and the sounds of real fighting between three men, Brandon just says, what's going on? That doesn't make any sense. I'm sure if there was all that yelling and real physical fighting, Brandon would have heard it through the phone. A normal response would be, are you okay? Do you need help? Should I call the police?
And then I look down and I see that there's a rope around my neck.
It's not very possible for someone to slip a noose over your neck and not know it. Also, if a person is tussling, squirming, fighting, and moving around, it would be very difficult to even slip that over someone's head.
Which I hadn't.
You hadn't noticed it before?
No,
you didn't
because it was so fast. You know what I'm saying? It was so fast.
How long did this all
It felt like minutes, but it probably was like 30 seconds.
The staged attack lasted 45 seconds, and it was just outside the view of the desired nearby camera.
45 seconds or even 30 seconds with these two guys? And Jussie has no broken bones? He just has a few bruises and a little scratch on his face?
I noticed the rope around my neck and I started screaming. And I said, there's a rope around my neck.
Jussie Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career. Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations? How could someone look at the hatred and suffering associated with that symbol and see an opportunity to manipulate that symbol to further his own public profile?
Did you get any kind of description of the attacker?
I gave a body description, and I, because I saw this, right here or whatever, but I didn't see, I can't tell you what color their eyes were. I can't tell you, and I did not see anything except the second person I saw running away. And the first person, I saw his stature. I gave the description as best as I could. You have to understand also that it's Chicago in winter. People can wear ski masks and nobody's gonna question that.
Did you notice how Jussie diverted? He was asked about his attacker's appearance, but then starts talking about how wearing masks in the winter isn't abnormal. He doesn't want to talk about the way his attackers look because that's dangerous territory for him. He knows that the police already have some security footage of his attackers, and he doesn't know how much information the police have now or how much they will have in the future.
The police have gone through a lot of video, and they were able to capture an image of two people of interest. Have you seen that image, and do you believe that they could possibly be the attackers?
I do.
What is it about their size, or why do you feel that they could possibly be?
Because I was there.
Again, diverting from talking about any specific features of his attackers, and even implies that it's stupid to ask him questions like that, hoping she'll stop asking him questions about his attackers.
During Smollett's interview on ABC's Good Morning America, he identified the people shown in the still of that surveillance video as his attackers. Also during that interview, Smollett indicated he was positive these were his attackers. The two men in this video are, in fact, the Osundairo brothers.
For me, when that was released, I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. I don't have any doubt in my mind that that's them.
Did you notice that pause? That indicates one of two things. He either doubts that's them, which probably isn't the case, or he's a little apprehensive to say that it is them, which makes sense because if police tie that photo back to his two friends, he's then found out.
One of the brothers worked on Empire, so they had a relationship and association.
Police confirming the men who have since been questioned and released have a relationship with Smollett. One even appeared as an extra on Empire.
If there's any justice, we'll have that conversation.
Authorities tell us the brothers claim they were paid by the actor to orchestrate and stage the racist, homophobic assault.
So he probably knew that he needed somebody with some bulk, and he knew them. They had a previous relationship, so that's probably the only reason he chose them.
Why did you hesitate to want to call the police?
It's actually likely getting the police involved was never part of the plan. He probably knows once the police get involved and file a police report, it becomes illegal. Jussie probably didn't want real detectives looking into his little fake attack. He was probably hoping the media and most people wouldn't question him and just feel sorry for him and believe that he was this tough guy fighter.
There's a level of pride there. We live in a society where
tears up again so he can appear more authentic, and appears to use how he feels people think he's weak to get tears to come out. For whatever reason in his past, he seems very insecure about his physical toughness and strength.
As a gay man, you were considered somehow to be weak, and I'm not weak.
I'm the King Tupac.
I am not weak.
I'm the King Tupac.
And we, as a people, are not weak.
Notice how much he talks about how he's not weak to overcompensate for this likely insecurity. Jussie feeling that others always think he's weak seems to have been a secret driving reason for him staging this attack.
So, I can accept that there was pride there. There's also privacy. You know, at the end of the day, look what has happened. You know, look what has happened. So, I'm glad that Frank called the police.
I'm the one who called 911. I'm the one who took him to the hospital, and it was so scary, man. That was a scary night.
Can you head over and check in a battery report? The system has it as Lower Northwater, but the address is don't have a last name on the cell phone regarding a friend that was assaulted and battered when he walked out of his apartment. He's supposed to be well-known requesting a report. Instead, the noose was placed over the friend's neck. EMS has refused and said the apartment's next to the Lowe's Hotel.
But I'm glad I'm the old man that was at his apartment when he got there, and I was responsible. You know, I said, let's call the cops, let's go to the hospital.
I'm glad that we reported it. During that time before they came, it took them about maybe half hour to come. And during that time, I was looking at myself, just like checking myself out. I saw the bruise on my neck, you know, like the little, the rope burn around my neck. And then I smelled bleach. I know the smell of bleach. And I saw on my sweatshirt, it had marks on it, like spots on it, when you have a bad bleach job. So then I was like, there's bleach on me too.
There was a change in the plan in that bleach was going to be used instead of gasoline.
So when the police came, I kept the clothes on. I kept the rope.
So you had the rope on the entire time?
I mean, it wasn't like wrapped around, but yeah, it was around because I wanted them to see. I wanted them to see what this was.
The actor in him surely wanted to show off the drama of wearing a rope around his neck. Someone would normally feel so belittled with a rope violently put around their neck. Typically, after an attack, people want to remove what they were wearing and shower because the physical violation makes them feel like they're dirty. Not Jussie, he didn't even take off the rope.
I told them what happened, everything. I also asked them to turn their body cams off.
Jussie probably saw my Chris Watts Getting Caught police body camera video, which now has almost 20 million views. He knows if I would have gotten that police body camera footage, we all would have had a field day on this channel, laughing at him and calling out his lying body language.
Because they were trying to stay in the hallway. And I was like, please just come in. Like, I don't want a big scene with my neighbors and with like the second round of police officers. I went down to where it happened, and I walked them through exactly what happened. And I looked up and I saw that there was a camera directly on the light post that is in the intersection. So I'm like, there it is.
I think that they knew where that one camera was, but unfortunately it didn't capture the event. So I believe that Mr. Smollett wanted it on camera, but unfortunately that particular camera wasn't pointed in that direction.
And then the detective told me that the camera inside of the casing was facing north. So they didn't have it. And that was disappointing.
It took place right there. So, of course, it was staged.
The vast majority of people have been supportive and loving and understanding. And then as time has gone on and that there's no, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to Subway, Sub-Zero.
Subway is open 24 hours. Like, people kill me when they say things like that because it's like Subway is open 24 hours for a reason. So that when you're hungry at night and you ain't got no food, you go to Subway.
Subway, eat fresh.
The camera facing north, how is that my issue?
Going to Subway at 2 a.m. in the dead of winter is a little weird, especially since he has room service in his fancy skyrise apartment building. But besides that, these attackers were hanging out outside his apartment skyrise at 2 a.m. in -10 degree Fahrenheit temperature with a noose and a bottle of bleach. Remember, they would need him to walk out, not leave his skyrise in a limo, a rideshare, in his car, or a friend's car. He would have to leave on foot for them to attack him. But in his story, those attackers clearly weren't outside his building when he left, because if they were, he would have been attacked when he left. So these attackers arrived at his building just in time with a noose and a bottle of bleach to attack him when he got back from his random 2 a.m. Munchies run.
It feels like if I had said it was a Muslim or Mexican or someone black, I feel like the doubters would have supported me a lot more.
Jussie slipped up there. Did you catch it? Watch again.
It feels like if I had said...
Yes, he said, if I had said. He's referring back to what he had said, which is the lie. If he was thinking back to what actually happened, he would have said, if they were non-white. But it makes sense why he subconsciously referred back to what he said and not what happened. Because his attackers were not white.
It was a Muslim or Mexican or someone black. I feel like the doubters would have supported me a lot more.
Now, he seems to be accusing people who don't believe his story as racist, because he seems to think his doubters don't believe white people would do this. No, Jussie, I don't think it's that. Your story is just bogus.
And that says a lot about the place that we are in our country right now. The fact that we have these fear mongrels, these people that are trying to separate us.
That's ironic you say that, Jussie. Try looking in the mirror.
And it's just not okay.
More incongruency with his smiling, because it doesn't make sense for him to smile based on what he said.
The phone. When did you, because as you said, it was an accurate account of the timeline, valuable information. When did you make that information available to the police?
We had to give the phone records, which they didn't originally ask for my phone records. They asked for my phone. They wanted me to give my phone to the tech for 3 to 4 hours. I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna do that.
Why?
Because I have private pictures and videos and numbers, my partner's number, my family's number, my castmates' number, my friends' numbers, my private emails, my private songs, my private voice memos. I don't know what that's going to be to hand over my phone.
Okay, Jussie, because the police tech wants to secretly take your contacts' phone numbers and prank dial your Hollywood C-list friends.
And honestly, by then, inaccurate, false statements had already been put out there.
Since some people already feel your story is bogus, what's the point of trying to prove your story true with your phone records? Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. He's diverting her away from talking about why he doesn't want to release his phone records.
Earlier this week, he submitted phone records from within an hour of the incident, but Chicago police said they were limited and heavily redacted, adding they need additional information. What other ones had you heard that were inaccurate?
That I had said that they were wearing MAGA hats. I never said that. I didn't need to add anything like that. They called me a They called me a There's no which way you cut it. I don't need some MAGA hat as the cherry on top of some racist sundae.
This surveillance video of the brothers in a Chicago clothing store buying items cops say were used in the phony attack.
They wanted a hat. Okay. Make America great, but we don't sell hats like that. Whoa. They asked you for a MAGA hat?
Yes.
What were your injuries? What were
they did x-rays. I didn't have, it was reported that I had like fractured ribs or cracked ribs or something like that. That wasn't true. I was just in a lot of pain.
The brothers had on gloves during the staged attack where they punched him a little bit. But as far as we can tell, the scratches and bruising that you saw on his face was most likely self-inflicted.
My rib was bruised, but nothing was cracked. Like I walked into the hospital. I walked out of the hospital.
Why do you think you were targeted?
I can just assume, I mean, I come really, really hard against 45.
But there's a problem. He doesn't really come much harder against Trump than most of Hollywood. I looked at Jussie's tweets going back to the summer of 2018, and this is the only one I found of him even mentioning Trump. And it was posted the day he sent out his fake letter to himself. Yeah, I'll get to that in a couple minutes. He tweeted about the 2018 midterm election, a perfect opportunity to mention how he feels people need to vote against the Trump agenda, but he didn't even mention Trump at all.
I come really, really hard against his administration, and I don't hold my tongue.
I want to ask you about Jussie Smollett.
I think that's horrible. It doesn't get worse, as far as I'm concerned.
Were you aware that he made that statement?
I saw it. I don't know what to say to that.
Jussie seems to smile because the president of the United States is talking about him. Jussie seems to be a narcissist, so getting attention from the president is a dream come true for him.
And there is no doubt in your mind what motivated this attack.
I could only go off of their words. I mean, who says empire, this MAGA country, ties a noose around your neck and pours bleach on you?
This stunt was orchestrated by Smollett because he was dissatisfied with his salary. So he concocted a story about being attacked.
What do you feel people need to hear the most from this story?
I think that what people need to hear is just the truth.
When he talks about the truth, he shakes his head no, which is incongruent with what he's saying. Typically, someone would be nodding their head in this situation. He doesn't want people to know the truth.
It's just the truth, because everybody has their own idea. Some are healing and some are hurtful. But I just want young people, young members of the LGBTQ community, young black children to know how strong that they are, to know the power that they hold in their little pinky.
Jussie actually seems to be referring to himself and how he feels so powerful because he used his race and sexual orientation in this attack to become much more famous.
The week before the attack, police confirm a letter was sent to the Fox studio in Chicago with threatening language and laced with powdery substance, likely Tylenol.
This letter is so fake and overdone. Notice one L in Smollett is backwards, 2 stamps to make sure it goes through. The note is written in letters cut out of a magazine like you see in movies. Only an actor would do this.
Do you think there's a link between the letter and the attack? And you did mention it to the police right away about the letter.
Absolutely. Just because on the letter it had a stick figure hanging from a tree with a gun pointing towards it, with the words that said, Smollett Jussie, you will die, black. There was no address, but the return address said in big red, like caps, MAGA. Did I make that up too?
Smollett attempted to gain attention by sending a false letter that relied on racial, homophobic, and political language. When that didn't work, Smollett paid $3,500 to stage this attack.
I want that video found so badly because for probably 4 reasons. Number 1, I want them to find the people that did it. Number 2, I want them to stop being able to say alleged attack. Number 3, I want them to see that I fought back. And I want a little gay boy who might watch this to see that I fought back.
Again, he seems to have a serious inferiority complex, feeling like people think he's physically weak.
And it does not take anything away from people that are not able to do that. But I fought back. They ran off. I didn't.
Defendant Smollett further detailed that he wanted Abel to attack him, but not hurt him too badly, and to give him a chance to appear to fight back.
What do you say to a young gay man, a young gay person?
To learn to fight. And I don't just mean like learn to fight. I mean, learn to fight. Learn to be a fighter. I am not advocating violence at all. So let's be clear about that. If you're gonna die, fight until you do. Because if you don't fight, you have no chance. I have fought for love. I'm an advocate. I respect too much the people who I am now one of those people who have been attacked in any way. You do such a disservice when you lie about things like this.
My concern is that hate crimes will now publicly be met with a level of skepticism that previously didn't happen.
If the attackers are never found, how will you be able to heal?
I don't know. Let's just hope that they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not go there yet. Let's, I was talking to a friend and I said, I just want them to find them. And she said, sweetie, they're not gonna find them. And that just made me so angry because, so I'm just gonna be left here with this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just gonna be left here with like...
Jussie seems not to know what to say in the midst of all that emotion. Someone would normally just speak those strong emotions. But when you're manufacturing emotions using a separate topic, speaking becomes much harder. He would also be trying to figure out what to say that's not only believable, but will also convince the naysayers to his side. That's a tall order, even for a professional actor.
So they get to go free and go about their life and possibly attack someone else, and I'm here to left with the aftermath of this bull. That's not cool to me. That's not okay. So I understand how difficult it will be to find them.
The way that they carried this out, there was never a thought in their mind that we would be able to track them down.
But we gotta. I still want to believe, with everything that has happened, that there's something called justice. Because if I stop believing that, then what's it all for?
It definitely seems Jussie Smollett is guilty of filing a false police report with this fake attack. However, Jussie's insisting that he's innocent and will be fighting this felony charge, which if found guilty, he'll be sent to prison for up to 3 years. Remember, body language is just one tool in an investigation that can be used to help arrive at the truth. Jussie's lying body language was very subtle, but it was his bogus story that gave him away. He's a good actor, but a horrible writer. Now, if you think Jussie Smollett is guilty of staging the attack, give this video a thumbs up. If you think he's not guilty, give this video a thumbs down. Now in the comments, what punishment, if any, do you think Jussie Smollett should receive? Let everyone know in the comments below. Remember to subscribe for more body language and investigative videos, and I'll see you at